I'd like to call to order the joint Health and Human Services and Internal Service Committee meetings of July 21st. Can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we'll move on to item 3. Can I please get a motion to adopt the agenda?
The agenda?
Zinner support.
All right, we got a motion and support. Please vote.
Van Sickle, yes.
Motion passes 13-0.
Moving on to item 4, approval of the minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of June 9th, 2025?
So moved, Perna. Support, Van Sickle.
All right, we got a motion by Perna, support by Harold. Paul.
Here we go.
Sorry, Commissioner.
Please vote.
She already sent it. I was gonna say that, but I was,
Motion passes 13-0.
now we'll move on to public participation. This is the first opportunity for public participation for those who wish for a maximum of 3 minutes on any of today's agenda items. There will be a second opportunity at the end that you can speak on any issue. Do we have anyone interested in speaking at the first hearing of the public? Come on up.
Hi there. My name is Samantha. I wanted to bring some attention to the Michigan State University Extension
Could you
services.
pull that microphone towards you, please?
Oh, yes,
You
sorry.
can pull it, it bends.
It bends.
There you go. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about the MSUE services and draw some attention to the cuts that are going to affect everyone. So one of the programs that as of October 1st, we'll be losing 120 educated workers in our area. The SNAP Ed budget has been cut, and these are trained people who go out into the community and teach the public how to get the most out of their SNAP and WIC benefits. So in a time where, everyone is so concerned about waste, fraud, and abuse, it doesn't benefit anybody to take these programs away and leave people with less education how to get the use out of their services. And part of my issue, I know that this was not a vote from the board, but I live and work in Macomb County. I vote in Macomb County, and it is becoming increasingly discouraging, and I would say morally disgusting to see the silence and see board members. I am someone who heavily researches, and if I see a board member, I want to know what you invest your time and energy into. And when I see board members at Trump rallies and things like that, smiling, and then show up for our community, it paints a very disturbing picture. And I think that if people are not going to start being about what you are showing up for work each day, that Macomb County is for families, for all families, that we support these programs, and then we watch them get cut, and we are still just going to come in every day to work and say, oh, well, what else can we do? Okay, let's maneuver around it. You are losing the faith of the community. And I think that the health department
Yeah,
itself,
30 seconds.
we need to do better. And I'm not going to sit idly by if I don't start seeing people standing up and saying, this is wrong, this is harming our families. I will make sure that everybody is voted out. I can't do it anymore.
Thank
It's
you. Thank
sick.
you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak at this time? Okay, seeing none, we will close the hearing of the public. And we are going to move on to the Health and Human Service Committee presentations, starting with the Board of Commissioners Casual Day Recipient Recognition. And this month's winner was Champ Life, and we have Sue Pace here, the Director of Community Relations, who's going to tell us a little bit about her wonderful organization.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for being a recipient of the funds. Champ Life is a nonprofit 501c3. Most of our kids, I said, good portion of them come from Macomb County. Our camp that we run every summer is for abused, neglected, and abandoned foster children and underserved and underprivileged children. It's a week-long residential program. It's actually starting next week. We're really excited about that. And about 100 kids come through. And it's Monday through Friday, and they do a host of different activities, everything from self-esteem building to working on the pain from the trauma that they've been through, and just a host of different things. They have a camp-wide birthday party, and they go rock climbing and just do so many things. So it's a fun-filled week, yet a week of just healing and hope. And I know the funds will go all to those children. We really appreciate your support so much. Thank you.
Thank you. And Commissioners, I think we're going to take a picture. Yeah.
Again? I can consider them there. What a pretty smile.
Oh, yeah, we gotta wait for the handsome guy to get over here.
You gotta wait for these. Goodness. No. Congratulations. Who was behind me?
It was not me. I was sitting next to
And
you.
you were next to me.
Can I get a motion to receive and file?
Support.
Please vote. All right, next up we have, oh, sorry.
Motion passes 13-0.
We have the Martha T. Berry scheduled report. Can I get a motion to receive and file?
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support. Can we please vote? Oh, okay. Hi, Kevin, how are you?
Outstanding. Madam Chair, how are you today? Good. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. It seems like forever since I've seen you all. Let's start with a couple of numbers. When I put this out, we were at 204 for our census. We are now at 210, which is about 96.8%. The state average is still low at 76.7. In Southeast Michigan, where we're at, is at almost 77%. Right now, we're still keeping 2 beds offline in our facility because we want to keep some maintenance processes going up. It's a slow process, but we're getting that done. So far this year, we've talked about kind of a story for those that are new to long-term care. First time I got together with you, we talked about the history of the county indigent care, how we started as a county poor farm, evolved into a hospital, and now the medical care facility. And the next one, we talked about a little bit about the rules that establish us and what the commissioners did 75 years ago to establish Martha T. Berry as a county medical care facility here. And we talked a little bit about why MTB is different than other facilities. I'm going to share some things that are a little bit scary. I don't want you to be afraid. My job isn't to scare you, but prepare you for what's going to come up in the next couple of years, because we have a reimbursement process that might be counterintuitive to many people. And it says it quite clearly here. It's really insufficient, both for running our organization and our building. You can do one or the other, but you can't do both. And we'll talk a little bit about over the next couple of meetings why from time to time we may need some help. But I think we've done a pretty good job so far, over the years. And we've had some incredibly unusual circumstances through COVID, and that reimbursement system is just catching up to us right now. We're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I did want you to be aware of a report that came out from the state of Michigan. These types of reports are happening all over the country right now of what's happening with long-term care. About 10 years ago, this organization was looking at selling to a person an organization that's highlighted in this as one that is moving money out of care and into various sectors. Again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but if you want to talk to me some more about that, I'd be happy to do that. I'm not here to rail on the reimbursement prospects of what's happening with them and why they do what they do. It's a whole different reimbursement scheme that requires them to behave differently. But I wanted you to be aware of that. It's also why we're different. Because every dollar that we have we don't have any return on investment we have to have for investors. Every dollar goes back into the building or into the people, all right? So I want to talk today about how county medical care facilities and actually facilities all over the country are reimbursed. We are a cost-based reimbursement system, and you think, well, that's fair. If you have expenses, you should get reimbursed for those. But that's not exactly how it works. What happens is we put a cost report in, they take a look at that, and from 2 years ago, they give us the rate that we spent from 2 years ago this year. I'll say that again. They're looking at our costs from 2 years ago. And usually costs go up. I think everybody can agree on that. There's rarely a time in our world where milk went down in cost over the years, right? Or eggs or insurance or anything like that. Everything kind of goes up. So we're always working a little bit behind on that. It wouldn't be so bad if they did an inflation adjustment, which they had actually about 20 years ago. Actually, when they first started this reimbursement system decades ago, they had an inflation index in there that helped with that. They stopped that about 15 years ago. So we are not getting an inflation adjustment at all on this. And then, of course, COVID hit. And if you take a look at the inflation over the previous 2 years, it's 6.9%. So our costs went up 6.9%, but we're going to get reimbursed this year on what? On costs from 2 years ago, even though our costs have gone up. In addition, they have what's called a sequestration. That is, Medicare, because they were supposed to negotiate, this was decades old, a negotiated settlement of reapportioning Medicare. They said, well, if we don't get it done in time, we're just going to take 2%. And that hasn't stopped. In addition to that, they take 2% for 2 different quality programs each, totaling 6% that they take off. So they give you a rate, then they take 6% away to start with. The other challenge that we have is capital is capped, and we're going to talk more about this at the next meeting, but we get penalized because we have an older building, and we're limited on that. So let's talk a little bit about how rates actually fluctuate. What happens is they put all of our costs together in a year from 2 years ago. They divide it by the number of resident days that we have there. And then they make some adjustments on it. This is kind of an oversimplified view of it because there are some allowed costs and some non-allowed costs. They pull the non-allowed cost out. They're not illegal, they just don't get paid for. For example, things like marketing. If we have more than one big celebration for our staff, we're allowed one big party for our staff in a year. If we have two, that's non-reimbursed. It's not illegal, it's just you don't get money back for it and the cost reimbursement structure, okay? So they have a number of things like that. In addition, they say things like this. If you have a Medicaid resident that has a stage 3 pressure sore, we will not provide a particular specialty mattress that we know helps them keep from going to a stage 4, which is open wound, you can see bone and it's bad, right? So we can prevent it, but it's not allowed. It's the right thing to do, and the Medicaid auditor says, really appreciate you doing that for a resident, but we won't pay you back for that. And those are expenses that we have to eat if we choose to actually do the right thing from a clinical standpoint. So I put it up there pretty simply, but let's for the sake of argument and simple math, because when you ask my wife to describe herself in 3 words, she says 3 words, not good at math. So try and keep it simple right here. Let's say we have 100 residents and our cost is $100. They'll take a look at that and say, okay, in 2 years, you will get $1 per resident per day, right? You have $100 in cost and 100 resident days. Just to keep it simple, it's 1. So if that's our baseline and our census goes up, let's say it goes up to 150, but we keep our costs in line because that's what we're supposed to do, right? Which is what we did last year. We kept our costs in line, but our census went up. If you take that same $100 in cost, but you have 150 residents, it now goes to 67 cents you get per resident. So they say, thank you for doing a good job in controlling your costs and increasing your census. We're going to pay you less in 2 years from now. If your costs go down and the census stays flat, the daily rate goes down too. So let's say we're not doing any better on getting our census up, but we're controlling costs and it's going down. Let's use that same 67. Let's say we go down to 67 cents. We stay at 100. We're going to get 67 cents. They say, thank you for controlling your cost. Not inflation adjusted. Okay? We have some possibility, which is what happened during COVID. Our census went down. Our cost went up. Our rate went up pretty significantly. And they didn't adjust it in time. So because they didn't come in and do the audits. So what they did was they said, okay, we're going to give you a bunch of money and we'll figure it out later. So they gave us something called certified public expenditure, which is if we exceed a certain amount, they give us money. They're going to be asking for about 1.2 million of that back because they said, well, you really didn't do as badly as we thought you did. All right. So if costs stay flat and census goes down, then the daily rate goes up. So what it says is, if you keep things going, but your census drops significantly, which really, intuitively, you're being a bad manager. If your money stays the same expenses, but your census goes down, then they're going to give us more money in 2 years. Right? So it's a counterintuitive model. I hope you understand how that works. The challenge that we have here is that happens year over year over year. And the beauty of what we get to do is we get to manage through that as money catches up and we get census up, we get a little bit more money coming in that says, okay, we're going to pay you less. We have to manage that. And then, but if we cut our costs too much, we can literally save ourselves into bankruptcy. Do you see how that works? If we keep saving money, they say, thank you for saving money. We'll give you less next year. Thank you for saving money. We'll give you less next year. That's some of the challenges on the for-profit side. That's why the not-for-profits are getting out of the business. They used to have 3 out of every 4 facilities. Now they have 22% not-for-profits because they can't manage. It's a loss leader for them now. The for-profits have to keep getting investment in And that's how they can keep things sustained. But as you can well see, that's a diminishing law of return after a while. The real estate investment trusts recognize that they're just churning, and they're getting paid back on interest, but not on care, direct care. That's why we're so important here, because what we do is we care for the residents, and we don't have to worry about that reimbursement, but we do have to manage that. And so when you see my money going down, you go, wow, you're putting a budget in that looks like you're going to lose money. Yep, we have to do that because we have to spend money so we don't lose it in 2 years. And here's the other thing. We have requirements on staffing levels. So our staffing levels, our insurances, our electricity, all those things, they're not going to change much if we change our census. They won't change a lot. Our food will change based on how many people we have in there. Our staffing has to stay pretty close. So we have some leeway in that, but they still require us to provide care. Because we are the safety net, our staffing levels have to stay higher. Because we do have the sicker, we do have the more vulnerable, and we do have those that don't have the ability to pay. A little bit more on reimbursement. Federal and state governments are moving towards privatizing both Medicare and Medicaid. This is entirely based on bending the cost curve. This is something that both Republicans and Democrats agree on. Long-term care is expensive. Medicare and Medicaid are expensive. And they're hoping that if they give the control of Medicare and Medicaid to private insurances, the costs will go down. Now, if you are a healthy individual, that's not so bad because they have a lot of healthy wellness programs that they have on the Advantage plans. It is unambiguously bad for long-term care residents. The insurance companies right now are creating a difficult situation for us, and I gave you a couple of examples here. But they are constantly fighting to say, no, they don't need that care. They don't need that care. And we need our doctors to keep coming in and explain why. And they say, okay, we'll give you 3 more days of therapy. Okay, we'll give you 5 more days of therapy. And then they give it and they say, well, we're not going to pay it because we don't recognize the doctor's signature on this. And then we have to go and show them how we do that. We have full-time people that are just working those contracts in that way. So the expense is going up on our end, but it's going down not because it's more efficient, but because they just aren't paying. Right now, our number one receivable as a percentage of revenue is the My Health program. They're the ones that are way out there of all the insurances. So the doctors are really getting marginalized in this process. And if you have any say in that, I would encourage you to talk to the people at the federal level. But this is one thing that I don't see changing anytime soon, is that the federal Medicare and Medicaid programs, they're looking to privatize by 2030. Let's move it back to what's happening at Martha T. Berry. Because how OPEB was financed, we do lose money with unallowed expenses because we have a cap on that. And part of the money that we have, if the OPEB was allowed to go the way it was before I got here, and this is a decade-old problem before I got here, I believe it was meant with good intent, but it still is hurting us right now. We also have general repair and maintenance and capital expenses have averaged roughly $1.7 million annually, and we get less than $800,000 a year in reimbursement on that. The rest of it's depreciation over time, and that is capped. So we'll talk more about that next year. It's too sunny a day to have all bad news, isn't it? All right, this isn't bad news, ladies and gentlemen. Commissioners, I want you to know that we're doing a really good job of managing the costs. We have to invest sometimes, and it looks like we're losing money. It is because we have to make sure we have it in 2 years. And we're not where we want to be financially, fiscally, but we're in better shape than we were when I first got here. where we had roughly 1.9 million in the bank and 3 million in debt. We are now current on all of our debt, and we do have some cash in the bank. Some of that cash is designated to go back to that CPE. We're expecting that clawback to occur. You know, we still have, what is it, eight more years of OPEB? 10 more years of OPEB. You know, we really do have to manage those expenses, because OPEB is just like just putting money on the floor and going, we'll see you later. But we do a good job of that. But we're constantly working in that way. And we have done it. We've done it pretty successfully. If you take a look at our cost reports year over year, we're doing well in terms of managing our cash flow. And we're going to continue to do our best to serve you. So don't think it's all doom and gloom, but I just, again, at the beginning I said I didn't want to scare you. I want to prepare you. So if somebody says the sky's falling at MTB, it's not. It is, however, a challenge from time to time because of what we just talked about here. We get reimbursed differently. We can't just simply say, we're going to appropriate more money for that, nor should we, right? Frankly, if all we had to worry about was managing the business and not the building, we could do a great job on that over and over and over and over again. But some of the challenges we have are new regulations that come in from time to time. This commission was incredibly helpful to me when I first got here in putting 0.1 mil millage in to help us overcome one of those requirements from the federal government. I think that was it's almost 8 years now ago. So, all right. Our budget's still in good shape. Now, as we're doing some projections, we may be losing money this year over budget, and we'll come and talk to you about that if we get close to it and we're going to run over our budget. The goal is to get as close to what's called the variable cost limit as possible without going over. That means we can maximize our reimbursement in 2 years, not adjusted for inflation. So be aware that we have that challenge as we go on there. Our capital news, we've shared this with you. We'll talk more about this. We have a need to upgrade our elevators by 2027. Estimated cost of that's going to be about 1.8 million. We do have 75 P-TECs that are on order. We did get a grant for $250,000 that we'll get upon completion, but that's a $330,000 cost. We have gotten a lot of the boilers replaced that are there. That's helpful to us. We still have resident drinking water. I think that we have a couple of boilers. We want to work on that. We have a lot of old lighting. I think I shared with you before that we're working on, LEED, low energy light emitting diodes that are a lot less expensive. I don't benefit from that directly because we get still charged by the square foot overall. So you're welcome. Everybody, every department that gets charged in that way, in that area, gets that, all right? Still working on F&O to get the power transfer switch issue resolved. Just so the commission is aware, when they pulled one of the generators out of the power plant, that took away some of our backup power. We do have a temporary generator there in case we need it. I think we've only needed it once. We did have load tests from 2 years ago that we had in place when we were doing some work. They chose not to use that or ask, even though we offered it to them. They did their own load testing. It cost $19,000, and they asked for us to pay it, and I said, no, thank you. I believe that that's something that you wanted to do. So if you hear anything like that, now you know why. We had it ready, and they wanted to make sure that it was in line with their standards, and it was. So it was a second check. It was just consider insurance money, $19,000 of insurance money. So, all right. How about some good news? We have been awarded the 2025 American Healthcare Association Bronze National Quality Award. This has to do with our experience over years and how we've implemented quality policies and procedures. This is the first step towards us going to silver and then gold. which is equivalent to the Malcolm Baldrige Award. That's our goal over the next several years. And we're excited about winning that, earning that as the first step. And you also have a couple of nice quotes. My executive assistant put one in that had my name in it, so it's not gratuitous. It was, I blame her. How's that? I do want to thank you for the support over the years. I know this wasn't an exciting presentation, but it's an important one so that the county commissioners note that when things may look bad, you can simply ask the questions and we can explain what we're doing about it. Right now, to be able to control the costs, our census again is doing well, which helps us bring in more money. But we've also done some readjustments at the middle manager level by eliminating and freezing a couple of positions. We're slow hiring some folks. We can't in non-critical roles. Those are some of the things that we can do. We cannot stop health insurance costs from going up, but we can rebid it. We have all 3 of our contracts up for our CBAs, and I put a note out reminding them of all that we've done to help our residents and our staff over the past several years, and that I'm asking for their help this year to kind of bridge that gap. I received a lovely letter from one of the unions that said, we disagree with your premise, but thank you for the letter. That was a nice way of saying, Kevin, you're full of it, but we'll start negotiating right away. But the idea is we're going to start sooner rather than later because we do have a lot of challenges with the budget coming up and the estimated loss of roughly 1.2 million in revenue on a $34 million budget, which is pretty significant. So how do I do that? How do I give my residents what they need without cutting people, giving our staff what they need for raises because everybody is getting hit by inflation? And how do I keep the building in good shape so that you can have confidence in what we do? That is the fun of managing at MTB. I thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. We do have a few questions for you here.
All right.
We'll start with Commissioner Hall.
Thank you, Chair. Kevin, in the presentation, you kept referring to they established the reimbursement mandates, the protocols. Just for clarification, they is.
Yeah, it was terribly rude of me. I'm sorry. So the Medical Services Administration, MSA, at the state of Michigan receives our cost report. We do a state and a federal cost report, one for Medicare and one for Medicaid. And what they do at the state level is they look at our rates and they compare it to all the other MCFs. So the state of Michigan looks and puts all of our costs together. They put all of our resident days together, and they go up to an 80% and say, okay, we're not going to pay anybody any more than whatever's right there. So if you're above that, you don't get a higher reimbursement rate. That's called the variable cost limit. So the state of Michigan does that every year from 2 years ago. So what they'll be doing is giving us our rate in probably September or October from our expenses from 2 years ago, combined with everybody else's in the state at a class 3.
So this impacts everybody in the industry.
It does.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Very well. Commissioner Howard.
I had the same exact question. I think what you do is incredibly difficult. I think you do it well. Look forward to seeing Martha T. Berry, I think, in person tomorrow is when I'm scheduled. And so I did have the same question as Commissioner Haw, and your concerns around privatizing Medicaid and Medicare. I had a sister that was born with bimeningeal encephalocele, case number 11 in America. 2/3 of her brain was on the outside of her skull, and she was denied health care from every single agency in the U.S. And if it wasn't for the government-provided health care, she wouldn't have survived. She passed away when she was 7. Ben Carson did 2 surgeries on her to help prolong her life. And if it wasn't for, this care, our family would have had to have an early funeral. And so also having a mom that's maybe one day likely going to be in your facility because she has a condition that ultimately will take her life. Fighting against privatizing this is deeply important because I think it hurts what you do. And I think you do a great job of managing a very difficult situation. So I want to thank you and acknowledge that.
Thank you, and I'm sorry.
Commissioner Goike.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Kevin, for what you do. I've personally had to take care of my parents, at that. Currently, right now, I'm doing an aunt, 85 years old, in and out of facilities. So if I just had a real quick look at the numbers, and I think that the total budget was 39 million. I didn't erased off of my board before I got to write it down, and 210 patients, beds in your facility. So that equals out to about $500 a day per person. Is that about right for your total cost?
It's a little less than that. Our budget's right around 34 and change.
Oh, 34,
Yeah, and we
okay.
have 217 potential residents.
Okay, so that would change the
So
numbers,
that's-
about
yeah.
$400 a day.
It's about 430 right now, 431, yeah.
Okay.
We're expecting it to go to right around 410, 415 for next year.
Okay, yeah, it's a huge number, but when you look into it, and it's like, as a business person, I know, what overhead cost is. Just to give you an idea on how things are, as a former state legislator, I know how things get manipulated into making formulas. Most people on both sides of the aisle have good interest on trying to do what the right thing is, but sometimes it's just not applicable to work. So just to make it easier figuring is the fact that, your overhead costs per bed gets down a little bit less when you're at a full capacity, because you have your fixed costs, such as your electric bill is going to stay the same, the gas bill, and the maintenance guy doing the work outside, the maintenance people inside, and the cleaning. That stuff will all stay the same, so it'll help draw the costs back down. But the bottom line is, when you get the people with the open source like that, that drags it up. So it's hard to predict. So what the big issue that, the way I see it is for your facility right now, is if we can legislate it out, by us all, working on your behalf, is that everything is different, and it's unique in what happens, because this year you may have more of one to another. So you're not falling on deaf ears, is what I'm trying to say, is that we get it. And for the job that you do, I, give you applause. And if we can be assistants to make our legislators a little bit more aware of it, I think that's, what we'll work on.
I'm grateful. Thank you, Commissioner. Here's something else that's important for you to know, too. You talked about overhead. There's something called the support to base ratio that we have to have. The base ratio is where clinical care directly is provided. Support is everything else. And so it's already regulated in there that we can't have our support to base ratio skewed. Well, that kind of went out the window when we had so many regulatory requirements during COVID. And what we found out just recently is we had a letter saying, hey, your support ratio went a little bit too high. Well, you had us reporting this, and this daily. We had this, and this weekly. We had this, and this required to do. You gave us a lot of requirements, but you didn't change the ratios. And so we're going to get money taken back on that. Wasn't illegal. It was actually legally, it was an unfunded mandate, but we're going to get a little bit of nick on that, on this reimbursement rate as well. So yeah, we're very aware of overhead and trying to keep that low, partly because we have that support to base ratio that requires us to say, you can do all you want, but you're not going to get paid for it.
Well, just all you got to do is remember, don't trip over dollars to save pennies.
Exactly.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Commissioner Van Sickle.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, Kevin.
Good afternoon, Commissioner.
I'm sure that you associate with other people in your industry, shall we call it?
Yes.
Have you ever investigated lobbying with the state legislature to maybe move the 2-year mark up to 1 year, which would give you 5 or 6% more?
Actually, the state gets their mandate from the federal government. Medicare and Medicaid are both federal programs.
Okay.
However, those rules are written at the federal level, and they're implemented on behalf of the federal government at the state level. So Medicaid, they say this is what you have, and the state has a lot of leeway in what they can provide. So some things they do and some things they don't. But the requirements on how those calculations are made are given to them by the federal government.
Okay, I suppose that you have a one rate fits all also comes from the feds?
Well, the interesting thing is the rate that doesn't fit all, but the variable cost limit is calculated to say you can't get more than this. So if right now the variable cost limit's at 400 and what, 35? 435. So we're under the variable cost limit right now. So there are some facilities that make more than me. There's a few that make less than we do per day, but there's some that make that their costs are 460 and 470, but they don't get all of that. So they get reimbursed back to the variable cost limit, and then the CPE, they give 65 cents on every dollar over that. So it's mind-boggling to think what we go through, but I would love for it to be, I don't mind cost-based reimbursement if they just allowed for the inflation component. And I think you saw on the screen, I put the numbers up there where the inflation numbers come from. They do a market basket for long-term care. If you wanted to go look for it yourself, you can see it on there. That's what they do. That's how they look at it every year, and they the Medicare looks at it and uses it. Medicaid has been kept from using it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair.
Thank you. Seeing no other speakers, anyone? All right, can we please vote?
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you, Kevin. We'll see you.
Thank you again. We'll see several of you tomorrow and the next day. Thank you.
All right, we are going to move on to department recommendations, starting with item A, position control for Macomb Community Action. Can I get a motion to recommend a full board?
So moved.
Support Van Sickle.
All right, I got a motion by Howard and support by Van Sickle, and we have Ed here. Hi, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for taking the time to hear from us this afternoon. I have a head count change in front of you. We are looking to eliminate a vacant advocate position and create a full-time teacher aide position. Ordinarily, we would submit this change through the budget process, but we would like to get the change in place and ideally someone hired in time for the beginning of the school year. This will represent a headcount increase of 0.33 FTE. The position is funded through Head Start and GSRP funding, and this would not impact our general fund contribution in any way.
Seeing no questions, can we please vote?
Motion passes 13-0.
All right. Thank
Thank you very much.
And now we will move on to item B, which is a budget amendment, Health Grants Fund, fiscal year 24-25, Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Comprehensive Planning, Budgeting, and Contracting, and the amount of $74,480. Can I get a motion to recommend a full board? Motion to recommend a full board. All right, Commissioner Wallace and Commissioner Brott. And we have Andrew here today. How are you?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. How are you doing today?
Good.
Good. So I have quite a few items for you this afternoon. The first one is going to be, as the chair mentioned, a motion to approve a budget amendment to increase our grant fiscal fund budget in the amount of $74,480 due to an increase to our comprehensive planning and budgeting contracting. This is an increase from the state. This is specifically going to go for our communicable disease program to help very much with our TB program, to help with physician costs, contractual costs, pharmaceuticals and drugs that we use in that program. So that this increase is going to help support that program. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, we do have a question from Commissioner Van Sickle.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, Andrew.
Hi, Commissioner.
Did we request this addition or did they volunteer it?
They volunteer. So throughout the year, we get several different amendments, and this is just an increase that the state sent down to us.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
All right, seeing no other speakers, can we please vote?
Motion passes 13-0.
All right, and now we will move on to item C, which is the EGLE Real-Time Beach Testing and Source Tracking Grant, Amendment Number 7, in the amount of $25,000. Can I get a motion to recommend a full board? Mo- Did you support it? Okay. I have a motion by Wallace and a support by Wayno.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is a request for a motion to approve a budget amendment in the amount of $25,000 to increase our qPCR water testing. I've been to you and in front of you many times about qPCR. We received additional dollars just because of the job we are doing here in Macomb County with our surface water and also our bathing beaches in terms of sampling. So this is, again, it's not quite real time, but it's a quicker response, 4 hours compared to at least 24 hours with the other Coley alert method. So I think we continue to be rewarded from the state, and they continue to send us additional money. So it's good news for us. Be happy to answer any questions on this one.
Well, we definitely appreciate that. We want to do everything we can to keep our residents safe. Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Andrew, this is my thing. I'm so excited. What is
This should have been labeled Commissioner Kraft's
right?
item.
Next
by the
time.
way.
Next time. What did we get originally? Was that around 10,000? Somewhere around there, 10 or 12?
So we get just under. So it's spread out in different categories.
Okay.
So it's typically a 2-year grant, and it's just under 94 now. So this is in addition to that, the 25,000 to that initial grant. So with that, they also extended it, the use of these funds to the end of 2026 as well. We will definitely use that and probably expect to receive more funds, grant funds for covering qPCR testing in 2026 as well.
Great job.
Thanks, Commissioner.
All right, Commissioner Goike.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Andrew. Couple of questions. I know this program really well. You know, we've done it for a long time. I'm a great asset. My question though, on this particular one is, do we see in the foreseeable future of having our own lab back again, like we used to have over in Martha Teeberry for doing water sampling for bacteria and stuff?
Well, I would love my own lab.
We used to have one.
We did. And because of cost, we had to move it out. As you know, we partner with Oakland University and Wayne State, the Heart Lab, right there on Lake St. Clair, that we utilize. So Oakland University runs that lab. They typically use summer students, or graduate students, I should say, to run that lab. So that helps with cost. qPCR costs are a lot more expensive, but I think the expense is worth it when we are trying to get to the bottom of source tracking and sources of contamination. It's really important for us to have those rapid results. I would love a lab, and if we one day have the funding to support that, I'd definitely be first in line to find a place for it.
Yeah, the other one is, when by using the terminology real time, Congresswoman Miller actually supported through the Great Lakes that real-time monitoring too at all the water intakes, like the Mount Clemens and out there in the lake. We had real-time monitoring and stuff.
Right.
Is there any headway, or is them still being maintained? I know I worked on trying to make a thing with Wayne State University and Macomb, Community College on working with that for real-time water monitoring for the inlets too. What's going on with that?
Yeah, my understanding, Commissioner, is that real-time water monitoring for drinking water. So these are the, like you
Yeah,
mentioned,
that's
the
different
water
than what we're
intakes.
talking about right now, and I know.
Right, so this is not the beach testing. This is,
I absolutely know
and I'm
that.
just explaining it so everyone
Yeah.
knows. I believe that program is still in existence and is still going on. And it has been some time since I've gotten some updates. So I will get some updates, and we can connect on that program and definitely
appreciate
update you,
that.
make sure that that's correct.
Because there was a real hard problem with maintenance money for that, and I didn't think it should fall on Macomb County alone. So I was trying to get the Great Lakes Authority to do something with it. back then, and I just, an update, because I think that's important for all of everybody, in this room and with city water down here, and
Absolutely.
1/3 of the state's population.
I agree.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Seeing no other questions, can we please vote?
Motion passes 13-0.
All right, moving on to item D, budget amendment, Macomb Community Action, changes for services, revenues, and personnel expenditures. United Way fiscal year 25-26 Connect for Care and Systems Change Fund, CIE track grant award for the homeless response system in the amount of $50,000. Can I get a motion to recommend to full board, please?
So moved.
I have a motion and support.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is a brand-new funding source from United Way. We have worked with United Way in the past, very familiar with them as we partner with them in community action as well. This is a special grant that's going to help support, it's called the Connect for Care system, and what it is a collaborative that we look at with other regional partners on best practices on what's working, what's not with our continuum of care, our COC. So this is specifically with our homeless work that we do in the county. And it's this grant allows us to utilize those dollars for case management dollars. So what that does is allow community action to free up some dollars towards services and provide those direct services to clients for case management. So that is what the funds will be used for. This is a brand new grant that we were awarded by United Way. Very appreciative that they selected us in Macomb County. And so we are going to utilize those funds for that purpose, and I'll be happy to answer any questions on this grant.
Well, thank you very much. It's always exciting to get new grants. So I see no questions, so can we please vote?
Motion passes 13-0.
All right, and we will move on to items E and F, which is the budget amendment and the contract for the Michigan State University Extension Program in the amount of $100,000 to provide financial education services. Can I please get a motion to recommend a full board?
So moved.
All right, motion by Howard, support by Wayno.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good news again, this is brand new money for us. That came to us from Huntington Bank for their community development funds. This is going to expand services of a program in MSU Extension already. It's a housing and financial education program within MSU Extension. And what is going to happen with these dollars is to expand the capacity that they are utilizing to help our residents. When I looked at some of the numbers, it's pretty outstanding just with one FTE that they have on staff, that there are 127 individuals that have come in for one-on-one housing and financial sessions to educate them on financial literacy. It could be credit 101, building your credit, staying away from predatory loans that often find people in financial hardships. They've also held 226 home buyer education workshops just this year, as well as 45 money-based management classes for our residents as well. So what this will do is expand the ability. We get quite a few calls in this program that one person has to handle, about 80 calls a month. It is hard for them to keep up, and there is a little bit of a wait list that we are experiencing in this program. So it made sense to really expand this program and hopefully look at more down the road with outcomes and complete numbers for the year and prior years that we can really maybe look at expanding this program and justify it with other grants that we could go after. So these are our dollars going to be used with a contractual contract. So I'm asking you to approve the contract and the budget amendment because this is new funds coming into us. This is one-time funding right now from Huntington. That's why we're going to be looking at ways to keep the program running with other different funding sources in the future. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First off, Andrew, on the beach testing. My numbers were off because I was looking at the wrong line item. So I liked your number significantly better than the one I came up with.
Yeah,
For
you
this,
get me worried about $10,000.
yeah, it's like, wait a minute, I have to turn the page to QP, you know, it's all alphabetical. But for this item, as you described it to us, and in our recommendation sheet, it says that we've received $100,000 in funding from Huntington Bank. As I look at the Huntington Community Development Grant summary, if I go all the way to the bottom, it does state that there is $50,000 in funding sources from the county general fund. What am I missing here? What's the disconnect?
So I think what that alludes to is this was broken in two parts from Huntington dollars. We received $100,000 for the financial work that we're doing. And the other program also was, I believe, with planning and economic development through Advancing Macomb, which was an amount of $150,000. That item has already been approved before this item. But that's where that $50,000 is coming from for that specific item.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Howard.
No, I have the same question.
Okay. Seeing no other speakers, can we please vote?
Motion passes 13-0.
All right, and we'll move on to items G and H, which is the budget amendment and the grant agreement for the Michigan State Housing Authority in the amount of $75,000. Can I get a motion to recommend to full board?
So move.
All right, motion by Haw, support by Wallace.
Thank you, Commissioners. These are my last items, so thank you for being patient with me today. But very important, last but not least, is a motion to approve the budget and the contract for $75,000 based off of a additional grant. As you might know, that we have the Regional Housing Partnership through MSHTA grant dollars that my department, Health and Community Services, is the lead for. This is additional year 2 funding of that program. The plan is to build on the momentum. Hopefully you've heard about our community housing needs assessment that is going to be wrapping up at the end of the month. We've already got just about 1,000 responses from residents. We're looking to build on that more. We're going to be out at Sterling Fest this week, so hopefully you can see us and join us there. But even if you don't, we're hoping that you encourage your constituents to fill out the housing needs assessment. It's for everybody. We want to hear from everybody in the county, and it's more powerful when we get more participation. So please encourage. It's on our website, Macomb County Health and Community Services site. But we are looking to build upon that in year 2 with findings from that survey. And so when we have a report, which I'd be happy to share with you all and do a presentation here on that report and the findings, we're planning to have a plan after to act upon some of those findings, because I think that's very important. It's not just finding the gaps and opportunities, but what is the plan to address some of those? And that's going to be with some of these dollars. Hopefully, we're going to be able to use these dollars to help formulate that plan for us. Be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. I believe we have Commissioner Romano.
Thank you, Chair. Kev, I counted 5 grants. I'm so excited I can't stand it. Anytime you get a grant, you're my hero. Don't stop now. That's all I got. Thank
We're
you.
working hard for them.
Keep up.
Thank you. Seeing no other speakers, can we please vote?
We already got it, Kyle.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
And now I will pass the gavel to Commissioner Van Sickle for the Internal Services Committee.
Thank you, Chair. We'll move on to item 9A, which is Capital Improvement Fund for Animal Shelter Outfall Project, $115,837.25.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This contract and subsequent.
Excuse me. I need a motion to move the full board.
So moved.
Support Center.
Thank you. We have Commissioner Kraft and Wallace made the motion and seconded to move this to full board. Sorry. Go ahead.
All right, no, thank you, Commissioners. Good afternoon.
Smile.
This is a contract and subsequent budget amendment for the animal shelter outfall repair project. Outfalls are part of the stormwater system. Stormwater outfalls serve as the outlet for storm drains or waste streams, allowing excess rainwater to flow into natural water bodies. This is crucial for managing stormwater runoff, especially during heavy rainfall. It helps maintain the integrity of our drainage systems. With assistance from AEW engineers, a plan was developed to repair storm water outfalls. This is behind the animal shelter that were damaged. They're quite honestly very old, going back to the 50s. This repair is necessary to maintain a good standing with the county's permit with the state of Michigan EGLE. The work was publicly bid through purchasing. HMC LLC was the low bidder in the amount of $115,837.25. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Welcome. Thanks for stepping in for Ben today.
Not a problem. Big shoes to fill.
We have to do this to maintain our permit with EGLE, you stated, right? When were we notified from EGLE that this was an issue? How were we notified? And is there a timeline/deadline that this work needs to be done by?
This was actually caught before anything with EGLE. So what we do is annually we have AEW come out and they assess our properties. And then with that, once we get those results, we kind of prioritize the work and then move forward and ask that get taken care of.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Goiki.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is that the cost of doing the work, or is this just engineering on that?
No, this is the cost of doing the work,
Okay,
Commissioner.
because I'm very familiar when I worked.
Yep,
of
absolutely.
Where it was at and what it
Yes,
is,
sir.
so.
Yeah, it's
that's why I
actually-
was hoping it was just,
Yeah, it's actually between Public Works, the Public Works bill. We call it the animal shelter out.
yeah, I know right where it's at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked, I because I wanted to get it done by an engineer. I did work on it myself without an engineering degree, and I needed it.
Could you have come in under the 115?
Yes, I did, a lot, but it didn't hold up either. That's why I asked him, I says, you're somebody that went to Michigan Tech to figure it out, because
Yeah.
my fix didn't work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I understand.
Thank you.
Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
My oversight, I should have included 9B with 9A, so I need a motion to move 9B, which is the other part. Thank you. Commissioner Romano and Howard made the motion and supported it. I expect no speakers, so please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you. Moving on to 9C, I'd like to take C and D together. This is also Capital Improvement Fund, Macomb County Jail Security Electronics Replacement for the design and management services for $112,242. I need a motion to move
So
to full
moved.
board. Support. Thank you. That was Commissioner Haw and Romano made the motion and supported it to move this to full board.
Okay, good afternoon, Commissioners. So this request is for a statement of work and a budget amendment for the Capital Improvement Fund for the Jail Security Electronics Replacement Design and Management Services for the $242. So this will be a design walkthrough of the jail replacement doors and the existing towers. I can
Thank
take
you.
any questions.
You were very clear. There's no speakers or questions.
Okay, very
Please
good.
vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Moving on, I'd like to take 9E and F together. This is also Capital Improvement Fund. Integrations Contract Amendment Number 6 for Workday Services, $60,000. I need a motion to move to full board.
So moved.
Support.
Thank you. Commissioner Romano and Howard made the motion and seconded to move this E and F to full board. you're on.
All right, this is an agreement and a budget amendment for the Capital Improvement Fund for the integrations of contract with Workday. This is for the benefits, the final benefits pieces that needed to be integrated. So we are online with Aflac, Trustmark, Legal Shield, the Pet Partners, and Life Services. And I can take any questions.
Again, no questions, please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you. Moving on to 9G, Information Technology Management Agreement for third quarter 2025, cost of $439,740.95. And it includes jail tracker and jail management system. I need a motion to move the full board. Thank you. I think that was Kraft and Lucido for making the motion and supporting it.
Okay, this is our third quarter maintenance agreements for IT. So as you can see, there's 4 items: the jail system, our help desk system, and our 2 security environments for Superna and CrowdStrike.
Thank you. Please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you. Last item, Tech 84 Incorporated Sheriff Body Scanners, $17,800 per year for 5 years for a total of $89,000. Need a motion to move this to full board?
Zinner moves. Support.
Thank you. That was Commissioner Zinner, and Lucido made the motion and supported it. Ms. Wilson?
Yep, this is an approval request for the contract support for the Tech 84, so that is the body scanning. There's 2 systems over at the sheriff's office. They look for contraband as certain items come in through the individuals. So this is a multiple year agreement for 5 years. So our first payment annually will be $17,800.
Thank you. Again, no speakers, please vote. Thank you very much.
Thank
Motion
you.
passes 13-0.
Item 10, public participation. Anybody in the public is welcome to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes on any subject they choose.
Dr. Don Imboyer. I normally don't do this, but I noticed 2 representatives from Metro Technology just left the meeting. Because they left, and if they were here, I would still do it. I have been incredibly impressed with the partnership that they've had working in conjunction with Granger Construction, our architects, on the jail project. They've become an integral member of the Central Intake and Referral Center team. They work very closely on behalf of Macomb IT. As we all know, Executive Hackle's motto is deliver the project on time and within budget. Metro Technology has worked very, very closely with us, meaning the county, to do just that. It's an incredibly comprehensive, very complicated program. And if you ever looked at the technology blueprints that they produce, and they're willing to make changes to save money, to deliver the project on time and within budget, has been incredible. I go back to the days of Harry Emerson and other people in the IT department, but what we have, the partnership between Macomb IT, Metro Technology, and working in conjunction in this project has really been impressive. And I just wanted to let the commissioners know how happy we are in terms of working with them. Thank you.
Thank you for those words. Anyone else in the public? Call 3. Anyone else in the public? Seeing none, we'll close public participation and move to item 11, commissioner comments. Commissioner Wallace.
Thank you, Chair. I saw Vicky in the audience, and I wanted to just say that I was at a track meet, and someone stopped me and told me they work in the finance department, and they have not been happier since Vicky has gotten there. I know you're a little afraid. But she just wanted to let me know that she and many of the workers in that department feel more included, more educated, and a part of a team now that you are there. So thank you so much, Vicky, for making things go better.
Thank you for letting me know that. I appreciate
Yes, absolutely. That's it, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Hall.
Thank you, Chair, and I'll follow on Commissioner Wallace's statements. You know how happy we are, especially the three of us that are attending these budgetary meetings, them two more than me, and I'm so glad it's that way. I just wanted to comment, under our rules, we are prohibited from responding to those that speak during public participation. I don't know if Commissioner Kraft attends Trump rallies. I do know as chairman of CMH, he lives and breathes the issues that have been raised, cutting back services that impact Macomb County. I don't have to speak for Phil. His emotion shows it. This week, he's asked to put a resolution on my agenda voicing those concerns and asking for many of the issues to have a reprocessing or rethinking because of the impact they have on Macomb County residents and residents across the state. So even prior to us discussing it on my agenda this week, I just want people to know this board cares, especially that man who has to live through it daily. So thank you for all you do, Commissioner. That's all I have, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Glicky.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just, when we were talking to Mr. Cox from the Health Department, and I brought it up about that real-time water monitoring and such, it's just that I wanted to have an emphasis on it now that at the end of the meeting, we used to have our own lab doing that. And if something like that comes up again, I would, I would think if we could get a cost justification, but working as well as with our community college and stuff, it's very, very important for our community. We used to have that lab here. When water mains broke, any place in the county, the contractor could, when they got it flushed, they could bring that back here real quick to stop the boiling water alerts. It just works so well for everything to have it right here in the county. When Macomb County did the SWIM program, which was going out through the whole county looking for septic systems that were draining into the ditches and stuff. We led the state, led the nation in them kind of programs here in Macomb County, to stop pollution. And we did it in Macomb County under our dime and stuff. And that lab was very important on doing stuff like that. So it helps the whole county. And if we have that opportunity again to do that, I think we'd be wise to make that investment because it helps the whole county. And then I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Zinner.
Thank you, Chair. Along with that, I had asked before with Director Cox in regard to monitoring water coming from Canada down the river. And there's not a system there now. There's not a system in outgoing areas for monitoring. And they at one time were sending some bad stuff down from Canada. So I'm not sure if they're still doing that, but I think that, there should be, do you remember that?
That was the real-time monitoring. I was talking to him to find out if he was still getting maintenance work done. That's because Canada is a chemical alley, and that's why it had it. Especially, it was in front of all of the water intakes for our water departments in Macomb County to make sure that you weren't getting bad chemicals coming into the water treatment facilities.
Yeah, so I'd like to see some kind of monitoring there especially, and probably at the end of Harrison Township with St. Clair Shores, because we run right into it with the Limbaya problem that we have, because we probably need two or 3 billion from Washington to get rid of that stuff. I mean, that's my guess at it. So that's our drinking water, it's the whole southwest end of Michigan. So drinking water goes farther than that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. 3 in a row, Commissioner Romano.
Hey, while we're doing a shout out, let's give a shout out to Candace Miller. As we've all seen, EGLE, for finally, the state decided to fine Oakland County. It's about time. Through her efforts, she's been pushing and pushing and pushing. You know, I'm about 3 blocks, maybe 4 blocks from the Red Run Drain. And I don't know if any of you know, but during, is it the Irish time that Chicago taints their water or they color their water? Well, you want to see the rainbow, go over to the Red Run Drain when we have when it starts raining real hard, and you'll see a rainbow of colors. And that's junk and garbage coming from Oakland County. So kudos to Candace, keep up the good work, and I know that we as commissioners support her. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Seeing no other speakers, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Commissioner Romano and Commissioner Howard made the motion and supported it.
CP, nothing to do?
Motion passes 13 to 0.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.